Aman was the youngest of three brothers in a traditional joint family in northern India. His father, Mr. Kuldeep Sharma, owned a thriving manufacturing business that had been in the family for 2 generations. His elder brothers, Ravi and Mohan, were 10 and 7 years older than him, and from a young age, it was clear who the favorites were. Aman, despite being intelligent and hard-working, was treated like a servant in his own home. While his brothers were taken under their father's wing to learn the business, Aman was told to focus on school and stay out of adult matters. At family dinners, his opinions were brushed aside. If he protested, Ravi would sneer and say, "The baby wants to play businessman now." Still, Aman dreamed of joining the company one day. He studied business management in college and spent his nights reading investment books, hoping that someday, he would be part of the legacy. Then came the tragedy. Their father passed away suddenly from a heart attack when Aman was just 21, still in his final year of college. The grief was overwhelming, but what followed was worse. At the funeral, relatives began murmuring about the will. Aman, hopeful, waited for his share, not out of greed, but because he had faith in his father's fairness. But Ravi and Mohan claimed there was no will. Nothing had been written down. The company, the properties, the assets, all would naturally go to the elder brothers as per custom. Aman was stunned. "But Papa told me," he said, "he'd written it. That we'd each have a share." Ravi shrugged. "If he did, we can't find it. Maybe he changed his mind." Mohan added coldly, "You're still a kid, Aman. You don't know how to run a company. Go do your MBA or something." And that was it. They gave him a small amount of money for his college fees and kicked him out of the family home. Aman moved into a small rented room in a distant part of town. He had no inheritance, no job, and no support. 4 months, he barely scraped by, delivering newspapers in the morning, tutoring kids in the evening. But the humiliation hardened him. He no longer wanted to join the family legacy. He wanted to surpass it. He completed his MBA through scholarships and worked as a junior analyst for a real estate firm. He was silent, focused, and learned fast. Within 5 years, he became a regional manager. He saved aggressively, invested in small plots of land on the city outskirts, and flipped them at the right time. Slowly, quietly, Aman Sharma became a name in the real estate world. He started his own company, AS Holdings. It grew like wildfire. Within 10 years of being kicked out, Aman owned several residential projects, office buildings, and farmland across the region. But he had never forgotten where it all began. Then came his moment. One day, his assistant brought him a file. A textile factory unit near his old neighborhood was going up for sale. The owner? Ravi and Mohan Industries. Aman smiled bitterly. Their business had faltered over the years. Old methods, poor management, and debt had drained them. This factory was their most important unit. Without it, they'd collapse. Aman didn't hesitate. He made an anonymous bid, twice the market price. The brothers were overjoyed, thinking they had won the lottery. The papers were signed. Money transferred. The factory was now Aman's. A few days later, they received a letter. Notice of eviction. All company operations must vacate the premises within 21 days. Ravi stormed into the real estate office to protest, only to be led into the private office of the CEO, and came face to face with a man, now dressed in a custom suit, sitting calmly behind a mahogany desk. "You?" Ravi gasped. A man stood, walked over, and said with a smile, "Welcome to AS Holdings. I own this place now." Mohan, who had arrived minutes later, burst into the room. "You cheated us. You knew this factory is our backbone." "I knew," a man said, voice calm. "Just like you knew that I was Papa's son too, but that didn't stop you from throwing me out with nothing." "That was business, a man." "No," a man replied. "That was betrayal. This is business." They begged. They offered to buy it back. They even offered him shares in their remaining operations. A man declined everything. I don't want your shares. I don't want your business. I don't even want revenge anymore. I just wanted you to feel, for one moment, what it was like to have everything taken from you, by your own blood." He paused, then added, "Now get out of my office." Aman converted the factory into a tech park. Within a year, over 200 young professionals were working there under better conditions than his brothers had ever offered anyone. He built a foundation in his father's name, funding scholarships, healthcare, and job training programs. He also tracked down the original will. Turns out, it had been written, and his brothers had destroyed it. But by then, it didn't matter. A man had built something greater than inheritance. He built a legacy of his own. And as for Ravi and Mohan, they shut down their business a year later. Bankrupt. Forgotten. A man never looked back.